KTN.
In the early 1990s, Kenya was a one-party state. Political competition was outlawed, dissent was risky, and reform seemed distant. Yet a group of young, outspoken politicians emerged and challenged the system head-on. They would later be known as the Young Turks. Today, more than 3 decades later, a new generation of vocal politicians is once again challenging the political establishment. But are the parallels real or merely symbolic? Our political affairs reporter, Grace Nganga, with more.
1991, Kenya stood at a constitutional crossroads. Section 2A had entrenched one-party rule under KANU. Opposition politics was illegal. But youthful reformists, among them the late Raila Odinga, Siaya Governor James Orengo, Paul Mwite, Wahisa Mutui, among others, began mobilizing for change. Their demand was clear: repeal Section 2A and restore multi-party democracy. It was not a symbolic fight. It was a constitutional battle. Detention without trial was a reality. Yet, pressure mounted from politicians, civil society and international actors until Section 2A was repealed in 1991. Fast forward to today. Kenya operates under a multi-party democracy backed by the 2010 Constitution. The political environment is different, but dissent remains.
Sisi sio waoga. Sisi sio watoto. Sisi sio washenzi. Sisi tutadili na nyinyi.
A new battalion of relatively youthful leaders has emerged. Among them are figures like Edwin Sifuna, Caleb Amisi and Babu Owino, among others, vocal, media savvy, and often sharply critical of the establishment.
Maisha imekuwa ngumu kwa watu wa Nairobi na watu Kenya nzima.
But unlike the Young Turks, today's struggle is not about legalizing opposition. It is about governance, public debt, corruption, youth employment, and economic justice.
I have held and continue to hold the firm position that this country cannot afford another 5 years of this expensive, divisive, incompetent and disastrous route of misadventure.
One of the original Young Turks, James Orengo, has once again positioned himself in active criticism of governance shortcomings. Decades after agitating for multi-party democracy, he now frames his calls around constitutionalism, accountability, and the proper exercise of executive power.
Hakuna mtu atatulazimisha kuingia serikali ambayo hatukubaliane inayo.
The contrast between eras remains significant. In the 1990s, the fight was about access to the system. Today, the fight is about control and performance within the system. The earlier generation faced direct repression. Today's leaders operate in a more protected democratic space, amplified by social media and shielded by constitutional safeguards. Yet, one question lingers. History shows that many of the Young Turks eventually joined government, becoming cabinet ministers and senior state officials. The rebels became the establishment. Will today's young challengers follow the same path, or will they reshape governance in a more structural way?
These are young people. As they try and error, in future they will correct themselves and they will become very vibrant politicians.
Kenya's politics appear cyclical. The Young Turks challenged Kenya's political architecture. The new guards seek to redefine how that architecture performs. Whether this moment becomes another structural turning point or simply political realignment will depend not on rhetoric but on reform. Kenya's history shows that generational confrontation is not a sign of instability, but of democratic evolution. The question now is whether today's youthful dissent will leave a mark as lasting as that of 1991. Grace Nganga, KTN.
Thank you, Grace, for that report.